recording now, okay, and I'll probably have another session later this afternoon, this evening, and if you've got any other questions, we can talk about those. So I'll turn this off, and I'll turn the screen share on. So can you all see the letter? Can you all see it? Can you see the letters now? Yeah? Yeah? You can see the screen? Okay, good. So I'm going to save the changes. I'll put the letters in easy class, and I'll try and get through this as quickly as possible because we don't have, we're doing about, because like Zoom, we've got maybe 25 minutes left. So, okay. Now we've got a few different letters here. Now, what we're going to do in future, we're going to post an assignment in the assignment tab on easy class. So we're going to have a live class Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. Now it'll be at the same. It will probably be at the same time, though it might change. But the video recording will be made available to all you people in easy class. So we'll have a session. So for this week, we're having the next session on Friday. So we will post the task in the assignment tab on easy class either today or tomorrow. Today, I think, might be better. Then you've got at least a day, you know, to do a letter and send it to my email, which I've sent you. Okay, then next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the assignment will be posted 24 or 48 hours before the live session. Okay, so you'll have access to all that. So here for today, we've got 2 or 3 different letters because this is kind of not very well organized because we had quite a lot of things to do. So we've got different letters. In future, everybody will be writing the same. Okay, so let's get on. So Patricia Wiseman, well, that's not spelled right, is it? No, still. Mrs. Wiseman, okay, now right, now first things first. Now, you can include this information, okay, but it's not strictly necessary. Now, I can't remember, now, for example, we've got the date of birth here. So I can do sums. I can work out she is 75. So I don't really need to put that there. Okay. She's a widow. Is that strictly relevant or pertinent? Not exactly. Now, you can put this information, if required, farther down. But what we need in the third, you know, whoever is reading this is busy, right? They want to know right from the start, what do you want? I want you to do this, 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 this. Okay, so you've got to be careful about these expressions because everybody puts, you know, your further assessment and management. I see this for every single task, and it's not appropriate for every single task. Now, I can't remember exactly the case notes, what this one was about. We've done this letter before. It was something about assessment. So I'll let that stand for now because I don't have the case notes to hand. But you want to avoid using the same expression for every task because it's not appropriate always for every single task. Okay, so we've got a relative clause. That's good. Okay. Researchers adventures relative early Alzheimer diseases, or well, just say early Alzheimer's. There's no need for that. So that introduction is not too bad. Huh? Okay. Regular patient to my clinic with a stable health condition. Stable health. Do we need a noun, a phrase there? With stable health condition. You could say she's been a regular patient if that is pertinent. Okay. She presented to me with a history of uncomplicated fall. Now, fall, is that countable noun or not? Well, yes, it is. So we need an article there. Well, a history of an uncomplicated fall. You can say that, a history, but she had a fall, you know. All right. But in any case, we need an article in front of that. That was followed 1 month later by an occupational therapist home assessment. Okay, 5 months later, you attended my clinic for a checkup, because it's countable. And her lab, I don't know why that's there, lab results showed elevated level. Now, if it's levels in general, we usually make it plural. If we're talking about an abstract noun, yeah, with a history of yes, you would put an article in front of history. Now, so in terms of abstract nouns, you know, levels in general or an, so it's either levels because it's levels in general, or we want an article, an elevated level. Okay, now I'll probably have a session on articles later, possibly this week. We'll see how it goes. But I think we do need to have a session on articles because I think it's a #1 issue for most people. So we'll take a look at that. Fortunately, she was found to be non-adherent. That's good. Therefore, Webster PAC. Webster, is it countable? Can we count Webster PAC? Can you have a Webster PAC or PACs? I think it's countable. So put your article there. Okay. Mrs. Weishman, I think that's spelt wrong. I think it's Weissman. I'm not so sure. Just me with a daughter concerning about. Now, we wouldn't say concerning about. If you're using concerning as a gerund, you don't need a preposition. We can simply have a pronoun or an article. Okay? So, either visited me with her daughter about or concerning, but not concerning about. It's either one or the other. Okay, so get rid of that. That was noted. If it was concerning a poor memory, that was noticed after she's. Okay, so we've got active, then passive, then active again, mixing them up in a sentence. That's not so good. That was noticed. It was made with a daughter concerning a poor memory. You can leave that. You can take that passive out. After you start to get their tunes and right, okay. Social events, is that singular or plural? Is that singular or plural? Well, it's plural, so what is this? So we don't need that article. Now, I don't know if Webster PAC, now if Webster PAC is a brand name, then if it's a proper noun, it needs a capital. Now, I don't know if it's a generic term such as aspirin, you wouldn't put a capital. But if it's a brand name, a proper noun, then yes, it needs a capital. Okay. Upon examination, a mini-memory assessment revealed poor shots in memory for which further assessment was required. Well, today. So was required or is required? I would say is, because was is in the past. So even though she came to see you, it was in the past, yes, but it's still not that far back. So is required. It's worth mentioning Ms. Weishman's of Alzheimer or Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, her concern about dementia was discussed, or we discussed. And the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's disease was explained to the patient and her daughter. You can use passive, but you can use active too, because you were there, you were taking part in it. Based on the above findings, dementia most likely due to Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, don't know why that's capital. Your further evaluation will be needed. Should there be any queries, do not hesitate to contact me. Okay, so that isn't bad. That's not too bad. You could probably get a B out of that. It might be a low B, might be 350, hovering there about, but it does as it should, but we've got some grammar that would pull it down a little bit, but it's not sufficiently bad that we don't understand it. So, okay, let's have a look at this next one. Sally Fletcher, okay, discharge. So that last one was 245 words. So that's, it doesn't actually matter. It's a little bit long, but it doesn't, the only thing that you could cut out is basically paragraph 2. You can maybe make paragraph 2 a little bit shorter, but in general, it's not too bad, Okay, so Miss, is it Mrs. or Miss? I don't know. Can't remember. I thought it was Miss. So discharge Mrs. Fletcher coming up. It's good to do. There's many complications. You don't strictly need to include this. She's being discharged. You don't really need to say there was no complications because you can mention that here. Medical history has been experiencing. That's good. Present perfect continuous. Okay, that's good use of grammar there. For 3 years, with occasionally. Now that's an adverb. It should be an adjective. So with occasional. Okay, that should be an adjective to modify the noun of constipation, not an adverb. You could say she was occasionally constipated. If you made constipation into a verb, then she was, then occasionally as an adverb would be okay. She was occasionally constipated, but anyway, which has resulted in persistent pain in the left quadrant for which she was to. We don't need a comma there. Well, it was a comma, but the pain was not relieved. Don't really need a comma there either, because you've got but as a conjunction. A 6 assist was shown by a transvaginal ultrasound. Now, you could use passive, but a machine, you could say a transvaginal ultrasound showed or revealed a 6 centimeter cyst. I think that works a little better in active. I know they keep saying passive is more formal, but still passive, sometimes passive is not as effective as active. So, and you need to use a mixture. Don't simply write everything in passive because that, again, it's an English test. We want you to demonstrate how good your English is. Okay. In view of. Now, we would usually say, now in terms of collocation, we would probably say in terms of, not in view of. In terms of her, we would have a pronoun. In terms of her post-operative care and management, right, Mrs. Sally advised, was advised. Because here, she's doing the advising, but that's not correct. So, was advised to keep her incision clean and dry. She can dry 24 hours after final dose of an. What is this again? Subject verb. What's your subject verb? An analgesics. Final dose of analgesics as a compound, right? Well, that's a good question, Mrs. Fletcher. I should have mentioned that, yeah. Mrs. Fletcher is better. Usually you would put the surname, and then every subsequent mention in the paragraph would be a pronoun, she, her, etc. Yeah, so I would put Mrs. Fletcher. Now, it depends on the age, because usually if they're not too old, you can use their first name. It depends, It depends on the age of the patient. I mean, if usually if the teen is or under, you could say Sally. Adults, if they're married, probably Mrs. Fletcher. So anyway, back to the main point. Was advised. She was advised, presumably, by somebody else. Okay, so that needs to be passive. She can and subject verb, analgesics. Well, it's either an analgesic or analgesics, whichever. Okay, so watch your subject verbs. She can resumed. Why is that a simple past? If you've got a modal verb, then that's got to be infinitive. So she can resume a sexual activity after 2 weeks. Now, one thing about this paragraph I don't like, we've got too many sentences, short sentences, starting with she. She can resume, she can drive, she's encouraged. That's not so good for the reader, right? Too many short sentences, too many uses of she. We need to combine some of these sentences into longer sentences. Okay, so using a comma, make it a secondary clause, a semicolon, use a conjunction, and, so, but, whichever way, but still. She can dry. She can dry. Also, so you can say like also she can drive downstairs and can resume. So make that and, yeah. So instead of having short sentence, she, stop, she, right? Because you've got 1, 2, and 3 there. She can drive, she can resume, she is encouraged. Not so good for the reader. And not so good in terms of showing off your grammar. Make it complex, 2 clauses, or joined by a conjunction or relative pronoun. That's better in terms of showing your English ability. Which says, she's encouraged to eat all foods with regular diet. So yeah, so she can 2 weeks. She's encouraged to take all foods with regular diet. Post-operation. So we could probably change the order. I mean, I would rewrite this, but we don't have a lot of time, and I want to get through everybody else's. So this paragraph needs rewriting. Okay, we want to lose the she can. Okay, sorry, we've only got 10 minutes left. That's why we need to go on to a pro. So instead of she can, she is encouraged, we need to conjoin some of these sentences here in this paragraph. Yeah, I'll just make a note. Okay, Miss Sykes went to discharging the when you done myself, and I should be someone who can drive at home. Okay. So not too bad, but some grammar, subject verbs, and that paragraph needs a bit of reworking. But apart from that, it's not too bad. Okay, Mrs. Kaza, I'm ready to request this management possible cosmetic surgery. Mrs. Kaza, yeah, that's good. That's good. Relative clause also was demonstrated symptoms suggested of breast cancer. That's good. Now, yes, one thing I noticed here, you don't mention the sister. I remember this because we did this 2 or 3 days back, and it specifically said that you are referring the patient to Dr. Omar. The specific reason is that he performed reconstructive surgery on Mrs. Kaze's sister. That's the specific reason. So you really should have that somewhere in the task, because that's the main reason why. well, yeah. From a question here from Huda, you can, you can mention the request later, but it does say, and also the family history is of a sister. If I remember correctly from the notes, which I think I do, the family history of breast cancer is from the sister. So that is part of the story. So I would try to include it. That's the main reason why, you know, the family history is tied in to the request for this particular surgeon. So if you don't have it in the task, I would put it in. You know. Oh. So, sorry, medical history right of a right breast lump, because it's singular. Just problem with her history of breast cancer. Kindly note that she did, well, she didn't do, she didn't do it herself. So it's causative. She had mammogram 2 years ago, which was normal. Okay, so that's okay, but again, I would have mentioned the sister maybe, because that's part of the story. Initially, this guy's complaining of, it's one lump, so it's singular, it's a noun phrase, so we need an article. Shall I change? Yes, I would, just to be on the safe side. Which she first discovered sex 6 weeks earlier, but she had not noticed nipple discharge, or not noticed any. We need a quantifier, any nipple discharge. Upon breast examination, the lump was hard, with ill-defined margins, with the size of no tenderness was observed. Although the palpable lymph were found, her vital signs of right breast were normal, except for Scarpius operation. I suspected of, well, you suspected breast cancer, and therefore we don't need a comma there. I created mammogram and ordered a breast ultrasound. Okay. Oh, 6/17, Mrs. Kaze's ultrasound revealed the nodule. Hence, treatment options were discussed with. Okay, your preposition right were discussed with the patient, and a biopsy was performed. Okay, that's good. Today, the biopsy result in thus, I believe. Management will appreciate taking reconstructive surgery into your consideration. Well, yeah, but I would make it more specific, you know, and it does say the patient specifically requested because of the sister. So I would definitely say something about that. Now, the main thing I want to say here, it's too long, 267. I counted it, 267, that's too long. Don't need all those words. Okay, so there's a lot of detail here that you could probably omit. We don't need to put all this stuff, you know. We could probably cut a few words out here, here, and here. 267, a little bit long. It doesn't really say anything about, again, you know, the specific reason for the request. So that could be a little better, I think. Now, when we've got 3 minutes left and 2 letters left, oh dear, dear. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to hold over the final one till next time, or I might try and do it this afternoon and just put the correction in the channel. Writing to inform, well, right, so first, to whom it may concern is good, because we don't know, because it's a discharge. There's no name on the notes. Inform who? Inform you. We need some object to be informed. Don't need a comma, such as being charged to discharge the data into your care or further follow-up after a assist removal. Okay, that's good. Mrs. Fletcher, that's not spelled right, but still, has had no post-operative complications. That's good. Present perfect. And is recovering well. Don't forget your verb. She's able to perform some activities such as eating, attending toilet, attending the toilet, moving by herself. Also, examination investigations will have to be unremarkable. Okay, that's good. Therefore, Mrs. Fletcher was advised to resume baths or taking baths, because you can't resume a noun. We have to have some kind of verb, you know. Taking baths and others with normal regular diet, with a normal regular diet and baths, others with. Now, this reads as if she was advised to resume taking baths with a normal diet, as in eat a normal diet while taking a bath, and that's probably not what you meant. So taking baths onwards, and then I would probably put a comma and separate it, along with eating a regular diet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know, because if you don't, that's how it reads. Taking the baths with a regular diet. Okay. Well, she needs to be abstinent, not abstinence. Is abstinence, abstinence? Yeah, it's an adjective, so we need to make it a noun. Abstinent. Sexual activity for another 2 weeks, needs to avoid driving on athletics, advised to return back to driving to a day. Oh, what is this? Although she needs to avoid driving while on analgesics, there's advice to return back to driving. Well, it's not advised, you know, I'm saying you should go back. She's allowed, not advised. She needs to avoid driving on analgesics. She can return, so we need to like a modal verb. She can return to driving, she may return, or we need a verb like allowed. Yeah. Analgesics, she can return to driving after 2 or 3 days. Yeah. Okay. Something such as that to make it a little clearer. Please note special wound care practice should be encouraged with movement when they're pain threshold, appreciating the system managed commonly with the person with care and assistance. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, the only thing is, though, too short. 179 words. It's recommended that you have more. It's not bad. It's got the information in. It's not bad. It's not bad